Arsenal will kick off their Premier League season at Manchester United on Sunday. Mikel Arteta has brought in 6 players already this summer, including an out-and-out striker in the form of Victor 𝐎𝐅𝐅𝐈𝐂𝐋. So, are they done? Well, our reporter 𝐎𝐅𝐅𝐶𝐋 has more.
A busy 10 weeks in the transfer window so far for Arsenal. They brought in, haven't they, about half a dozen players in every position: goalkeeper, defence, midfield, up top. So will they be cutting back? Will they be trimming the squad? As you can see, the gardener is doing to that bush there, trimming that bush back. Will players be trimmed from the playing squad at Arsenal? Well, of course, I think there will be players moving out, players who are back from being on loan last season, players who perhaps are now a little bit surplus to requirements. Reiss Nelson being linked with Fulham, 𝐻𝐿𝐿, whose minutes last season compared to the season before were very limited. Vieira was out on loan, wasn't he, last season? Now back, expect him to go out again. Leo Trossard, that's a difficult one because, of course, with all the changes, with all the players that have come in, he might find getting a start, getting many minutes with Arsenal more difficult than he ever has before. But he could bring in good money to the club if they do want to strengthen any more, balance the books a little bit. Although he is a popular player with Mikel Arteta, a good squad player, versatile, always willing to come in and do his very best, even if he's not in the starting lineup. And then Gabriel Jesus, what about his future with the arrivals that we've had at the club? Still injured, of course, still not back from that injury he picked up in January. But is there any mindset for him to leave the club and find football elsewhere when he is fit and playing again, if he is fit and playing again before the end of the transfer window? And in terms of ins, well, Eze, that name won't go away, will it? Particularly with the changes that Crystal Palace will now have to make to their planning with the news today that they're not going to be in the Europa League. They won't get the money into the club that they thought. They can't offer the standard of football in Europe, certainly, to the players that they've got. So would that make it more likely that Crystal Palace would sell some of their stars, including Eze, and Arsenal, we know, very interested in that player?
𝐎𝐅𝐼𝐂𝐋 there. All right, Dharmesh, of the names that Gary mentioned, who are the most likely to leave Arsenal?
I can't put which is more likely or not. All of them could leave if they get the right offers. Gary made the point about Alexander Zinchenko. I think Arsenal would listen to suitable offers for him. Fulham are still pushing to sign Reiss Nelson. That one is definitely still on the table, even though it has taken quite a while because we've been talking about that for the best part of 6 weeks. Stuttgart still pushing to sign Fabio Vieira. Sambi Lokonga, surplus to requirements at Arsenal. And Gary made a great point there about Leandro Trossard, because I don't think Arsenal would actively look to sell, but it might be in Trossard's head, 𝐎𝐅𝐼𝐂𝐋 has arrived. Sometimes they play me up front. Well, I'm further behind the pecking order there. I was usually the first choice maybe when Martinelli wasn't playing to play on the left side. Now Noni Madueke can play all along the front line. So maybe he might look at it himself with 2 years left on his contract. Is this the time maybe to go? Look, Arsenal beat Athletic Club on Saturday. Reiss Nelson, Lokonga, Zinchenko in the squad, unused substitutes. Trossard and Vieira not in the squad at all.
Yeah. Gary mentioned Eberechi as Do we think that could happen?
Look, it's difficult at the moment because I think the focus at the moment is on sales. But I think what Arsenal want to do is be in a position that if an opportunity comes along, that they are in position to be able to act on that opportunity in the final 3 weeks. And Arteta has said it already, even after the games in pre-season. The noises he's making is that maybe they haven't finished in this window. There's been, we spoke about Rodrigo from Real Madrid earlier on the show. He's another player that Arsenal have kept an eye on throughout this transfer window as well. So it might not just be Manchester City, but Arsenal looking at what Rodrigo potentially, because of that area that they want to strengthen.
Sure. Well, Arsenal could come up against Benjamin Sesko.